Good day, podcast community. PeteKane here, podcast Pete and certified high performance coach. Now, we got a special guest, so I want you to put your pens down, take some notes, and hear because this is a topic that everybody needs to hear. And so, Malika, I know you from meeting you at an event. Tell
Mhm.
our who you are, what you do, and who you serve. And then we'll get into your story in the podcast.
All right. Thank you for having me, Pete.
You're
My name is Malika Daniels. I am an AFC certified money coach. My business is called Women Who Money Plan, and I serve typically women who are ages 25 to about 50, 55, who are high achieving women in their careers, making good money, but still feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck, struggling with credit card debt, having a hard time keeping money in savings and feel like they're not good with their money. And I help them to help navigate that situation, change their relationship with money, build their confidence, and develop systems that will allow them to pay off that debt, build up savings, and finally feel like they've got control over their finances.
I love it. I love it. I mean, it just fills my heart when you just said that. So I want to know, like, let's go back.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has the start of a journey. So I believe coaching is the most important thing because need those we need that person. All the high achievers have coaches. They have all kinds
Mm-hmm.
of coaches. So what motivated you to start such an important journey?
Right. So my background is in education. I'm a former teacher. I have my bachelor's and master's in education. I worked in education for 12 years. So I've always had a passion for educating others. But during that time working in education, I met my husband, and he had about $60,000 of student loan debt when we met. And I had gone to college on a full ride. So I didn't have any debt, and I was already really strategic with my finances, had just bought my own house, was, doing well financially on my own. And I was like, if we're going to get married, we need to pay off this debt. I want to start off marriage debt free. And so we created a plan and paid off $60,000 of debt in 2 years. And
Hmm.
from there, we realized, like, oh, like, if we can do this, what else can we do financially? So we started really getting serious about our finances together. And that's when I started talking to other people about money, because they were like, oh, well, how did you guys pay off the debt? How do you own this house? How did you do this? And so I'm an open book when it comes to those things. I like to share what I learned. And so I'm telling them, oh, I listened to this podcast and I read this book and I started doing this strategy. And that's how I started realizing, like, I like helping people with this. And I realized I'm good at something that a lot of people are struggling with, and I want to bring that out into the world. So it took a few years before I even realized that money coaching was a job. But once I learned that that was a path I could take, I started studying, went back to school, I got a banking and finance certification, got my accredited financial counselor certification, and started money coaching because I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to help people achieve those financial goals.
Hmm. So let's go back a few years. Did you see
Mhm.
anything as you were growing up as a younger girl that you would be doing something like this? Was there any indication that you were good at putting systems together, having a plan? Did you see any of that in growing up?
What's funny is I've always said that I don't like math. So I never thought I would have any kind of job that had anything to do with math, but
Mhm.
I was always a saver. So when I was babysitting from a young age, I would always save my money. I wasn't a big spender. I didn't like to shop, and I would constantly be putting money aside, and my family would borrow money from me. I was the youngest in the house, but if my mom needed some extra money for something, she knew she could borrow it from me because I'm like, I got it. So I think maybe that is an indication that I was always somewhat attuned to taking care of my finances before I even had bills and all that kind of stuff of my own.
Do you feel like there is one thing that people like there's a myth out there that and when it comes to money, do you feel that you see a pattern of this in working with your clients and working in this industry? Is there anything our viewers would like to know?
Yeah, I think there's a few of them. But one that comes to mind is that you have to make a lot of money in order to achieve different goals with your finances. And I have found that it's not necessarily about the money that you make, but more about the money that you keep for yourself and how you utilize the money that you make.
Mhm.
And of course, obviously, if you have more income, you might have more ability to do different things that others may not. But there is so much that can be done, even if you don't have a high income. Even just from paying attention to how much you're spending on different things, reducing your expenses, making sure to automate your savings, making sure you're automating your investments, those things, they really build up over time. And people think if they don't have thousands of dollars to invest or save, that it's not worth it. But even just starting with $20 a month, if that's where you need to start, that is going to add up and help save you so much money over time if you just stay consistent. So that is a myth that people think you have to have a lot of money before you can do anything about your finances.
Mhm. What do you think, like, what does community have to do with how you support your clients? Do you do anything to stay in touch? How do you kind of, because we all need that support. What type of support are you out there helping them with that you could share with our community?
Yeah, I'm providing workshops when I can. So actually this weekend I will be at the Cobb County Health and Beauty Expo doing a
Mm,
free workshop. It's going to be in Smyrna from 11:30 to 4, I believe is the right time at the Smyrna Community Center. But
mm,
I like to provide workshops for the community so that they can get this one's called Financial Jumpstart. And so I want people just to get that idea of like how to create that spending plan, how to understand where your money is going, how to set up a banking system that's going to work for you where you're not paying unnecessary banking fees, you're using that high interest savings account, those solid things that are going to help you just to feel a little bit more like you have a system and you have a plan in place. So I think doing those workshops is really important. Typically, the people that I serve are in the area. I live in Ackworth. I
mm,
network in Ackworth and Kennesaw and Marietta and those areas. So a lot of my clients come from that area. And so I think just being in the local community and making sure that I am becoming seen and known in the area is helping me to serve as well.
mm. If I had to say, like, Malika's superpower is this, what would you say? What would you share with our community? Because we all have it. And do
Mhm.
you kind of think about that? And is it something that somebody has told you over
Mhm.
time that kind of reinforce that? Because we never see it through our eyes. We always
Yeah.
see through what people say.
Yes.
Have you had that kind of realization that this is what I do best and this is my superpower?
Yeah, I think the term that I would put it as is like empowerment. Because I've
Mhm.
had a lot of people tell me that one thing they love about working with me is that I don't judge them on any of their past situations or current situations. And they feel like they can let go of shame. And there's a lot of shame that's often tied to to people's finances and past decisions. And
Mhm.
I'm not here to judge you or anything. I'm really here to figure out what you want for your life and how can I help you achieve those goals. And I'm trying to coach people to give themselves more grace when it comes to finances, to learn from past mistakes and do differently next time, to shift that money mindset. And so I think my superpower is going to be like, it would be like empowering women to feel more confident with their money, because I know a lot of people that have opened up to me and said, man, like I was nervous to even do this. And now like I realize like you're not going to judge me, you're not going to shame me. And I can move past a lot of that previous shame that I felt.
Ooh, I love that because I heard somebody, and I'm trying to think of the person. It's kind of like honor the struggle when you're in the middle of, let's just say, debt. It's not,
Mhm. Right.
but every storm has ends, and
Mhm.
learn and grow through the storm. Because
Yes.
I had a guy. This was about a couple years ago, and he said he was talking about PTSD, which
Mhm.
we know what that is, but he was at 5 years old, he found himself growing up in Russia in a concentration camp. So you're 5 years old, you it's not a typical 5-year-old growing up, but he said what happened was he grew, and so instead of the D, he used G for growth.
Oh, wow.
And so it was post traumatic stress growth. And so he went on to be a superstar in Russia. I mean,
Yes.
after the podcast, I said, like, how did you find me? And he goes, I have no idea that there's people. And it was like so many, he was dropping wisdom after wisdom after wisdom, but it was because of a tough childhood
Mhm.
perspective that a lot of people don't get. What did you learn going through as an educator? Like, if did you have anything in education that kind of spurred you in a growth mindset? Did you have anything that helped you grow faster?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so when I first graduated college, I was all wide-eyed, so excited to start teaching. It's all I had ever wanted to do since I was a child. And I used to teach in Chicago public schools. And
Mm,
I got my first teaching job as a kindergarten teacher. And that first day, those kids ran over me. And it was like, I was
yeah.
so confused. I'm like, I went to college for this. Like, I don't understand. They didn't teach me this. I just had to make it through the day without crying in the classroom, basically, the very first day. It was insane. But I'm someone that's very persistent and doesn't give up. And so after fighting back the tears once the kids left and thinking I'm going to quit, I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm going to figure this out. And so
Yeah.
I called previous teachers that I knew. I called other friends that were in education. I started developing a plan off the bat. Okay, when I come back now, I'm going to use this strategy. I'm going to do this. And I ended up, by the end of the year, I loved that class. Loved those students. The one student that gave me the hardest time that first day, like we
Yeah.
used to laugh together about it at the end of the school year. Like, remember when you used to? He'd be like, no, I didn't. I'm like, yes, you did. So I'm someone that when I hit those hard situations, I definitely dig in and was like, this isn't going to take me out because I've been through way too much for, you know what I mean? Like, I can figure this out, and I use my resources, and I'm going to like figure out a plan. So that's kind of why, the name Women Who Money Plan, because I'm someone that's always going to come up with a plan to figure something out. I'm not going to let it beat me down or anything like that. Yeah.
That is so I love that. And
Yeah.
my partner's an AI specialist, and like this was about 3 years ago, and he was like encouraging me to play with it. And I said, no,
Mhm.
I'm having too much fun. I'm loving podcasts. I don't want to get into that stuff. That's not me. I don't like that stuff. And but he kept being persistent. And then I kind of opened my mind to just playing with it. And I
Mhm.
discovered it was a great tool to
Yeah.
assist me to stay in what I love to do, but get out of the stuff I don't like to do. What would you say starting a business is not easy? I
Yeah.
mean, it's tough. I
Yeah.
mean, what was the toughest thing that you had to adapt to as you were starting your being a certified money coach? What was the toughest thing in growing your practice?
Mhm. I think there's a few things. One of it was the networking, because coming from education, I didn't have to network. I just went in my classroom and did my job. And then even when I left the classroom, I was an ed coordinator. So I supervised classroom teachers, but there was no networking that had to happen from that. And so realizing that I had to get out of my shell, go talk to people about this new business that I'm, just starting. So I don't have a whole lot of background in yet. And try to get myself out there was really hard for me. So that was one of the biggest struggles for me at business. But now a few years in, I'm used to the networking part. But the part that is still somewhat of a struggle for me is the discipline, I will say. I am learning that I'm someone that has these great ideas, and I get so excited about all these different ideas that I want to implement. But then seeing them all through is sometimes pretty hard for me when it comes to business. So that is something that I'm realizing I just need more work on, is just staying disciplined of like one or two goals and seeing it all the way through before I jump on a new strategy that I learned from a different book or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
What would you say? I love that. What would you say? Like we're always growing
Mhm.
because I do the four human drives, and the fourth one is growth.
Mhm.
How does Malika grow? Like, what do you have books? Do you have podcasts? Do you have things that help you to grow that you could share with our community?
Yeah, I'm definitely someone who is a book reader and or listener to them on like an audio. I find a lot of free books on YouTube, like they have the whole audiobook on YouTube. But so listening to certain books, a lot of mindset books. So I'm really loving like The Power of Now,
Mm,
Untethered Soul are two of like my favorite ones. Right now I'm reading another one by Eckhart Tolle. I forgot the name of the book right now though, but so
mm,
a lot of mindset books that are helping me to just really focus on who I am, my own personal journey, and not worry too much about other people and what they're doing or not doing and what's going on with the world, and realizing that I am in control of me and my own journey. So that's kind of what really worked for me. And then same thing for business. There's different books that I've been reading. I read the book Eat That Frog. That was really helpful. Atomic Habits, different things like that. And then, of course, finance books that I love. Simple
mm.
Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. So certain like financial books that are just like classic.
Yeah, they are really good. I recognize Atomic Habits. My daughter, shared that with
Mhm.
a few years, almost right after he came out, and she works in finance for she's a
Mhm.
recruiter for Northwestern, so she's always challenged to read. And when she was a college recruiter in Arizona, and when she moved out here and started in as a recruiter in finance, the first book that the guy gave her was Atomic Habits. So she shared it, and James Clear
Mhm.
really is a great book because those stacking those because habits are create outcomes. What would you say like what's a morning
Mhm.
routine? What's a morning routine? Do you have some good habits that you start the day with that you could share with our community?
Ooh, I'm working on it. I am trying to get into that habit of consistently working out in the mornings, which I wouldn't say I'm there yet, but that is a goal of mine. Eating a healthy breakfast. And then I try to just start my day by getting started in the work. I don't typically do calls early in the morning, but just get started in like the tasks that I have to get done for the day earlier as possible. I have learned that if I wait too late in the day to dive in, I kind of lose that motivation. So I got to get started earlier while that motivation is there to get the work done, is kind of what I've been doing.
That's awesome. Do you do like any journaling? Is that anything that's part of your routine that you you've discovered?
It's not, but I am a list taker or a list maker, I should say. So I also am like writing down different. What's interesting, I guess I've never really thought about it as journaling, but I'm often writing down my thoughts in my notes in my phone. It's like if I have something come to my mind, like, oh, let me write that down, this idea or this thought,
Mm,
this whatever. So my notes in my phone is full. It's ridiculous of all the different ideas or things that come to mind. But I've always considered myself more of a list maker than a journaler, but it might be a combination of both if I really look through my notes.
yeah, that's good. We've got AI coming. It's like a freight train of disruption. How are you using it, or are you using it? And if you are, how are you using it?
Yeah, I'm using it in some ways. I know I could be using it even more. The main thing right now is using ChatGPT to help me strategize different ideas. For example, with the holidays coming up, I want to start thinking about what ways to appeal to the audience for coming up with. Everyone's going to have their New Year's resolutions and all those kind of things. So, what strategies can I use to help people to want to sign up for coaching to help prepare themselves for the new year? So I use it for strategizing and for like writing, helping me with like newsletter ideas and things like that. I know there's so much more that I could be using it for automations and stuff like that, that I keep saying I need to figure that out.
Hmm.
Because I know I'm not doing nearly enough with it. Because there's plenty of things that I want to be able to, like you were saying, put aside and not have to deal with, that I would love for AI to help me with.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, we're all in that discovery phase of
Mhm.
something disruptive as AI is like our journey is never over. We're always learning, we're always growing. And when you have something major like that, I had a person and she talked about getting in the flow, getting, getting a routine, a rhythm
Mhm,
on it. And I think it's like almost you get AI, so how can I put it into my flow, my routine
mhm.
that Atomic Habits talks about? Putting
Yeah.
all those different things. Like I go to the gym, and then when I lived at Overture, it was 4 flights down to the gym. I was there at 5 o'clock every morning because I
Wow.
used Atomic Habits. I drank my water, I journaled, I would think, I would just think of what I learned the day before, and then I'd plan and I implement, but I would also listen to personal development while I was cycling. So all those things, I mean, like if someday you didn't feel like it, I knew all these things were happening,
Mhm.
made me want to go down there as opposed because when you're sleeping and it's winter time and it's cold, it's
Yeah.
easier just to stay in there. Hey, I'll do it the next day. But stacking all those habits like James Clear talks about really does bring a habit to more of a routine. I mean, or
Mhm.
more of a rhythm. What would you say? Because when I met you, I have an answer, but what would you be your best relationship building tip that you could
Mm.
share with our community? I think I know, but I want you to kind of share with our.
Oh, I don't relationship building tip.
Yeah.
Um, that's a good question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that question before. Okay, my best relationship building tip. I think it would just be genuine. That's
Yeah.
what?
Okay, let me just tell our community. So we were at 1885 house, and you were
Mhm,
talking to your friend, and so I was. It was the first time I had been to Alicia's event, so
mhm.
I didn't know too. Probably didn't know. I knew Alicia, I knew Christina, but I didn't know really anybody else. But when I came over to the table, because I got a little bit of a small plate of food,
Yeah.
had to find a place to kind of hang out. But you made it just kind of like you were so welcoming and genuine, and the
Mhm,
conversation was so much fun. You don't, I don't think we often know what we do so well, but I
mhm.
would say you're genuine. You had smile, and it was just kind of like it was like I knew you from a couple months, 6 months, a year,
Right.
easy to talk and just have a conversation. So that is a very important
That's
relationship building tip that I
awesome.
want.
You got it.
Yeah, yeah. So lean into that because I'm a greeter at my church, and it's like I love. And one person said this. It happened 25 years ago. He was new. His wife was dragging him to church, and hadn't been to this type of church, and so she's dragging him, and he was like, do I have to go? And I was a greeter back then, and so
Mhm,
I just love greeting. So he gave a testimony like 20 years later. He said,
mhm.
when you greeted me, I felt like more comfortable going into a strange place. I was
Yeah.
anxiety and didn't know what to expect. But it was kind of that friendly smile, welcoming, and just being nice to people. And,
Yeah.
and I think and I didn't even think about it until he said it 25 years later.
Mhm.
Makes a difference when people approach you for the first time. If you're open, if you're inviting, if you're conversational, if you're genuine, it
Right.
makes such a difference in how people feel good around having a conversation. So,
Yes,
I,
100%.
yeah, what would you say when you were in education? And how many years did you spend in education?
6 years in the classroom and then 6 years as an ed coordinator supervising classroom teachers.
Okay, so 12 years.
Mhm.
What would you tell our community? You're in a structured environment. Now you're not in a structured environment. You can do whatever you want. You could go to the gym. You could not go to the gym.
Right.
You could sleep in. So tell me, like, what that's a big difference
Mhm.
when you have structure, and we need it. But how do you build structure into your day that has helped you that you could share kind of with our community? Because we all struggle with it, and we're all
Yeah.
looking for ways and ideas that people can share with us.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much stick to a similar schedule in terms of like the hours that I work. And
Hmm.
I am a calendar user. So everything goes on my calendar. And I structure my day. I know ahead of time what I've got for that day, how many meetings and calls I have, and things like that. I have my set events that I go to consistently, the one networking group or two different networking groups I go to every single week. And then the occasional ones that I go to, like they offer like once a month or once every other month. So I do have those set like once it's on my calendar, it happens, you know? And then just pretty much making sure I have an idea of the task I want to get done for each day. So I've been using an app called Todoist. And it's just like a free version of the app. And so I can make my list. And the cool thing about it is it's your list that's then tied to the calendar. And so that helps to structure my day as well. Because I am someone that needs that structure to be productive because I will easily not be productive if I don't have that structure in place.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I think I totally agree with you, and I think lists help build that structure. And our
Mhm.
we'll say like, "Hey, let me look at your calendar." We'll do it in a coaching situation, and if a person is has a robust calendar, meaning not that they can't do anything, but you've got to schedule things, and your calendar really helps you stay on task by putting those things on there. If I see a blank calendar, I see a person that's just going in every distraction out there, and there's
Mhm.
distractions. I mean, everything
Yes.
is pulling us away from what we should be doing. I heard somebody say that the average person watches 4 hours of TV and
Mhm.
scrolls up to 2 hours of social media.
Oh,
And so you
yeah.
think 6 hours of consuming media. And then we'll
Yeah.
say, I don't have time to plan my financial future. Like I
Right.
just haven't had time for it. I
Yeah.
mean, but we're
100%.
spending, we're Netflixing, what do you call that? We're binging. We're binging
Mhm.
Netflix shows, but we're not putting any time into our financial future, which
Yes.
is so important because it's creating your life. What would you say is, well, I want to be respectful of your time, so
Mhm.
I want to wind down just a little bit. So I heard somebody say an entrepreneur, an individual business owner like yourself, who's building a coaching business, is the sum of 1,000 pitches. Like you got to be good at pitching. You got to always pitch because if people don't know what you're doing, like, oh, I don't want to sell. Well, you better learn how to because you're not going to be
Mhm.
successful. So I want you to picture me as your ideal client. So just give me a little bit of, hey, what can you do to help me? I don't have a financial plan at all. I'm in debt and I'm just not getting this money thing. So give
Yeah.
us a little bit of that, how you can serve.
Yeah, a lot of my conversations with people is more questioning what they are looking for, right? So it's not always about like what I can do for you or anything like that. It's like, well, what do you want? What are your struggles? What have you tried? What are your pain points? Where do you want to see yourself? And once I have people kind of opening up about those goals that they have, then we can see, okay, well, this is how I can support. So, for example, someone who is struggling with debt, I'm like, okay, well, we can create a debt payoff plan that's going to help strategize figuring out how much money we can put towards the debt. We can see where your money is currently going. Are there expenses that we can reduce? Is there more income that's needed? Sometimes that's the case where additional income might be needed, where we can create that plan. I'll talk to them if they're struggling with savings, I can talk to them about systems that we can put in place to develop automation so that the savings become like more kind of set it and forget it and not have to dig into it. But also, one of the important things that people forget about with their money that causes a big pain point is not planning for non-monthly expenses. And that's a huge thing that really throws people off with their finances. And so I'll talk to a lot of people about that, about how we are going to structure a plan to make sure when your life insurance payment is due, or your annual Costco membership, or those different things that happen on a somewhat consistent basis, but it's not your regular monthly expenses,
Mhm.
how we can make sure that we always have the funds available for that. So literally hearing from them first is the most important thing about what their specific pain points are and what they want to accomplish, because it might not be what I'm thinking is best, might not be what they want for themselves. And so that's what's really important for me, is hearing from them and then figuring out, okay, based on that, this is what we can do.
Man, I love that. I was hoping you were going to go there because I totally agree. If you don't ask the questions, you don't know
Mhm.
where they're starting in their journey. And so that is
Yeah.
just a great lesson for our community to be that person that asks the question so you can determine where they are on the journey. So thank you so much for that. That was
Exactly.
I'll give I'll give you a an educational grade. I'm giving you an A for right there. That was so good.
Yeah. Awesome.
So tell our viewers, like, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can always visit my website. It's www.womenwhomoneyplan.com, or email me, Malika, Malika, at womenwhomoneyplan.com. I always offer free consultation calls for anyone that's interested in coaching. So you can email me to get that set up, or if you go on my website, there's a link to schedule a free consultation call as well. And so that way we can find out, again, I can hear from you on what your concerns are, what you're looking to do, and see if I can be a good support system for you during that time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, what would be, as we wind down, what would be the one thing that you would want our viewers to take home from our podcast today?
That digging into your finances is so important, no matter what stage you are in. Some people think, oh, I don't make enough money, I can't even figure this out right now. Some people think, oh, I make a ton of money, I don't need to figure this out. But the reality is, no matter what stage you're in your finances, you want to make sure that you have clarity, that you're confident about what you're doing, that you have a plan in place. And so that's why I'm here to support, to make sure that you have all those things no matter what stage you are in life.
Ooh, that's so good. Thank you, Malika. I appreciate you being with us, sharing it to our community. You know, this is a very important topic, and thank you so much for taking the time to be um, a resource for our community and helping them to really navigate the financial and money game, because it is a game and
Yeah.
you got to win. So
Yep.
thank you. I appreciate you very much.